your trade, you would find you were going to enter a trade on gas, and we're going to set our isolated to, when you first start out, you're going to start off with a 30x leverage. So set that to 30x. It can be 31, it can be 30, whatever, but 30%. Once that's set, you're going to find your entry position, right? So currently it's at $6.50. So you always want to kind of be locked in a little bit lower than that. So you pick something like $6.50, and so it's at 4/10 of a penny. So I'm going to pick, 605.02, right? Something like that. So it dropped below that, which is good. Now, when you go to enter, depending on how much your bag is available, right? So I have 110 on available. So let's say I'm going to do 100% of this trade, right? Which is the $100. And I hit my entry to my long position, right? Now we can see that gas is in that 30x long. And now what I need to do is I need to set up my stop losses and so forth. So first thing I'm going to do is go to this little plus sign. I'm going to click it. I'm going to type in 30% for stop loss. I'm going to take profit. I'm going to put 50, and I'm going to lock that in. Now, as it moves, I will adjust my stop losses accordingly. But that is how you set a profit. If you want to, let's say profit is going and we get to 15% in profits, then what you would do is you would go to your little line, and you can see this little edit line right there. You hit that little pencil, click edit, and I would change my 30% stop. Yeah, I move it to 15. And then if I think profits are going pretty good and it's moving heavy, I could even move my take profit to 75. Yeah. And that's if I'm watching it, right? If I'm not watching it, I keep it at 50. So now once my profit gets to, 20%, I move my stop loss to 0. And then once it gets to 35%, I move my stop loss to 20. And then you can start adjusting your take profit as you go. But that's how you set up an order, and this is how you adjust your edit your take profit. Now another thing you can do, which is kind of cool, is you can hit the plus sign again on your order, and you could set a secondary stop loss and take profit. And what you can do here is, let's say that you set your other take profit at 100%. You can come to this one and you can go to take 50% of the bag, and you can say that when it gets to 50% profits, I want you to sell half my bag, right? So that you get bigger bags. This is how you siphon off profits, right? So normally what I do is at 50%, I'll say take 25 to 30% of the whole bag. So that way I've taken at the 50% mark half of my profits. And then your stop loss, you can adjust this, which means let's say your stop loss on your original one is moved to 0 or 20%, and you have a running trade that's breaking 70, 80%, you can come over here and say, okay, when it gets to, let's say, 50% profit area, right? I want you to go ahead and sell 30% of my bag. And what that does for you is that on the whole bag, right? Because remember, your original stop loss, your other one is set at 0, and your take profit is at 100. Over here, you can say if you reach 50%, take 30%, or you can move a stop loss. So let's say that the profit's above 75. You'd come in here and you say, okay, I'm going to move you to 100, the same as my main one. But I'm going to set a stop loss here at 50% because right now you're at 70. And what I want to do is I want to sell 30% of my bag if it does hit the 50% stop loss. So that way you're taking profits on the 50%. So that's your secondary one that you can add. And the numbers can be in between what you have on your main one, because you can adjust how much you're going to take, right? So if I have my main stop loss set at 0, right, like set at the entry point and take profit at, let's say, 200%, and then I set this one to take profit at 100%, but only take 30% of the bag. And if let's say my profit is moving and I get to 70% profits, I can come in here and say, well, if you fall back down to 50% profits, go ahead and sell 30% because I want that. So this is how you guys understand what I'm talking about? It's a second order that you can put, but they can be partial buys and sells, or partial profits and stop losses. So you can adjust the amount. That makes sense?
Yeah, that way, no matter what, you'll never lose what you set your second stop loss at.
Yeah. Jay Scott, everything's inside the Discord, big dog, on the prompts. So that's how that's done, man. So that way you can, learn to